Let me begin with the breaking news stories, ladies and gentlemen. A suspect in the Vandai Beach mass shooting that killed 15 reportedly trained by his father before the attack, according to Australian police documents. I have a back-to-back breaking news. Fighting has resumed on the Thai-Cambodia border, which is concerning just hours before ASEAN foreign ministers met to try to de-escalate the violence. Both the countries started firing each other. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SATV's International Affairs. Broadcasting live from SATV's Dhaka studio. My name is Rashid Kanchan. I will be your host. I have a very distinguished, very well respected personality, Ali Ahmed, former member Customs, Bangladesh Board of Revenue, become an academician, writer, author and speaker in television shows. I have Norman Flatt-Barnes, SATV's geopolitical correspondent, who is actually the heart of today's program. Norman, I want to begin from you. You heard two back-to-back breaking news. I am sure you have bundles of breaking news, Norman. Let us share.
Good morning from Washington, D.C. The wonderful breaking news here is that we are starting our holiday season. Christmas is this week. All of the lawmakers are heading home, and families are getting together to go over this week, and hopefully we have a little peace that goes on. In the news, the United States Coast Guard is currently tracking and ready to seize in Venezuela the third oil tanker. So that process is going on right now, and it's predicted that shortly they will have that third tanker under the United States control. Back here in the United States, in Florida, the United States delegation, including Jared Kushner and Stephen Wynkoff and the Russian delegation, are going over the 20-point plan, trying to finalize the terms for the United States regarding ending this war in Europe with Ukraine and Russia. Unfortunately, the conversation is still hovering around territory and the sovereign security for Ukraine if they decide to go this way. Right now, the term used is frozen upfront scenario. Basically, we're looking for a long embedded stalemate. Russia is going to basically look like they're going to continue their onslaught unless they agree to the terms. And Russia and Ukraine is looking for support from Europe in terms of funding to survive another year. The United States position is basically determining whether or not they want to continue to fund or to provide security guarantees in terms of technology.
All right,
So
very constructive way of delivering the latest situation, especially on Russia and Ukraine war and peace talks progress. I have a news that the United States, European and Ukrainian delegations are holding productive and constructive talks in Florida to negotiate a peace plan to end the nearly 4-year war with Russia. Russia remains resistant to some terms, especially territorial concessions, territorial gaining, territorial issues, even as discussions continue. Here in the studio, I have a very, very distinguished personality. I love him. I love his way of speech. Sir, what realistic outcomes can we expect from the current peace negotiations in Florida taking place with negotiators, United States, European Union, NATO members and Russia and Ukraine as well?
The negotiations, if we want to call it, started with the visit by Putin to Alaska, but there was no discussion, no negotiation, but that was supposed to be the beginning. But then it goes on and on and on, And Putin and Donald Trump, they often discuss, often talk about telephone. According to Donald Trump's own admission, 1 hour and a half and all those things. I don't know what they have discussed. But the discussion per se, discussion as such, is continuing with intermittent pauses between delegations of the two parties. The American delegation, though the war is not with America, but they are working on behalf of the president. It is Mr. Steve Witkoff, president's personal friend, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. They are also now continuing, as you have just mentioned. Now, what is going to happen after these 4 years of war and occupation of almost 30% of the territory of Ukraine by Russia, and huge devastation, especially in the latest round that happened there. So, this has been going on. I personally am not much hopeful that it is going to come to an end very soon, because Russia still now, as you have read between the lines, they are making very good progress, but they are very rigid about land. What is land? The occupied land.
Sir, 30
land
seconds.
occupied.
30 seconds. Control, if possible, please bring Norman on the line. Mr. Ali Ahmed is saying he is not hopeful. I need to get the response from him. Please bring Norman on the screen as he can hear us properly. Sir, go ahead.
As I was saying, the discussion has been going on for quite a long time with pauses, but I personally feel rather skeptical about any acceptable outcome. Russia was trying to impose a peace of defeat on the Ukrainians, but the Westerners came, and now that Ukraine is running short of funds and short of human beings, soldiers, etc., the funds have been promised and will be provided $90 billion by the European Union of countries at different varied rates. These are loans, of course. America is not seen or heard to be making any donation, and at one point US said to the European leaders that it is a European matter, you do take care of it. So, that was not the attitude before of the American presidents. So, with this thing, and some responsible European leaders, they said that we will take about 3 to 4 years to prepare. So, they are preparing for a long haul, and in the meantime, if Russia really occupies the most of the part of Ukraine, which they have in effect done after closure of the Black Sea ports and all those things, Ukraine is now a half alive country.
All right, I'm sure Sir Norman, he is a very seasoned peacemaker, former ambassador and a veteran journalist. I really love the way he delivered. Sir, would you mind to respond, Ali Ahmed from studio, and I want to add one question with that. How should Ukrainian balance territorial sovereignty with the urgency of ending the war? Should they compromise the territorial sovereignty, or they should focus on ending the war, because life is stopped in the Ukraine? I just want to get your very experienced opinion. You are watching the development every moment, sir.
Yes, if you can hear me well, the situation in Ukraine is very desperate right now. The troops are tired. The people are tired. The government is very despondent and not focused on winning. Right now, the word is survival. Can we survive another day? Can we survive another month? Can we survive another year? Russia, on the same point, is providing consistent pressure through the use of drones, technology, and weather-related issues to basically manage and provide a frozen outcome for this. Basically, they want to freeze them out, draw and use up the resources, cut off connections, communications, and options, and basically turn over the United States, influence the United States to stop supporting Ukraine. And And on the same time, Europe is basically is scrambling, trying to find funds to provide resources so they can survive, not win the war another year. Uh, there's my opinion that Ukraine has not put forth a plan to for victory, but more they're trying to hold on and just manage another day. They do not want to give up the land. They do not want to come under the rule of Russia. But the situation is coming so desperate that a decision has to be made pretty soon. I fear that the people and the military, the troops will basically not be able to sustain themselves without help from Europe. Consequently, Europe has mentioned, I saw a note this morning that Europe is prepared to put troops, well, they are talking about preparing to put troops in Ukraine to maintain stability, not to be an offensive weapon, but to maintain the situation until a ceasefire compromise can be made. This may take a long time because of the issues of territory and sovereignty is on the table, and the Putin administration is not yielding.
I'm sure, sir, you are convinced what Sir Norman Flood Barnes has said from his experience. He has seen so many negotiations because his eyes on Washington is very close, better than us. Sir, I just want to add one question for you. What leverage does the United States hold in pushing Russia toward a negotiated settlement?
That is the most vital question. But the thing is, there are two things. If you remember, a couple of months ago, Xi Jinping of China told that we would not see Russia defeated, if you remember that. And the result was seen, the huge drones and all those attacks. So China is there supplying ammunition and arms and everything. So Russia is now a renewed strength. That is one thing. And the other thing is, America has never had supported the Ukrainians. In fact, he has discouraged and he has also seriously, publicly humiliated the Ukrainian president. And they are not supporting. And even now, as I said before, he is saying that it is your European affair, so Europeans settle it. But he is ready to sell his arms at a cash price. Cash means normal import or export thing. That is what is going to be done and is being done. The Europeans have provided money that can be done, but the shortage of human beings, there has been a lot of deaths on both the sides, though Russia has suffered the most by every account, but its population size is far greater than Ukraine's, and Ukrainians are cheered that they are very great tenacious fighters, but I do not know how long they can afford. And the question is, if they accept the defeat at this cession of territory, that means it becomes a landlocked country in Europe. So that becomes very unacceptable. They will not accept. And so a peace of defeat, peace by means of defeat, might be imposed on them by Russians. But since the other European leaders are there, they are ready to give money, but nobody is ready or willing to fight on their behalf, as it happened during the Second World War. So if it continues like this, I don't see much hope of a peace being honorable peace for the Ukrainians is going to be won very soon. No, perhaps not.
And you also said that you see that United States is not serious actually.
Serious, but not getting involved. Seriousness is in the negative way. And there are other information also. Personally, Mr. Donald Trump is said to have interests in the UK, in Russia. I think I should not say more than this. These interests keep him very engaged with him.
When you are talking like this, I designed a question for Norman. Because he belongs to United States citizenship, proud citizenship, the strongest country on the planet, the richest country on the planet according to militarily, economically, geographically as well. Sir, after Ali Ahmed, my question goes to you. How is European unity holding up around this peace process given differing national interest, and along with this, what risk remain if negotiation collapse, fails militarily or geopolitically? Big question for you, sir. You can take time to explain the situation. We don't have any problem.
Yes, the situation is very complex and also very simple. Uh, Pressure has been put on uh, by the United States on Ukraine to come up and concede to this transactional deal. We're talking about a transactional deal. Basically, what are the terms? And the terms are the United States will provide support, technical support, weapons, and whatever to you if you agree to certain concessions. One is the territory, the land. Yes, Ukraine, if they do that, Ukraine will become a landlocked country. Two, NATO. Do not join NATO. They have conceded to that. Three, military reduction. The European Union is speaking about how they're going to provide security, and the United States said they will provide technical security, but not physical security. As you notice, the United States' new policy is not to engage in these foreign affairs. They want to be more of a mentor versus a enforcer. So there's a lot of things on the table right now. This situation is evolving as we speak. The plan is if there's no terms, we'll see more and more aggression by Russia. Russia is going to continue pounding Ukraine until they decide, hey, I quit, I give up, and they will then take over the whole area, the whole country, and continue their onslaught for Europe. Remember, they have frozen assets. Russia need the assets. Winning the war is one thing, but they need economic revitalization. They need funds. They need money. They need to get back into the trade matter. The United States is also talking to Russia and other countries about trade and commerce, regardless of what happened, the outcome. They're talking about plans. There's resources there. The United States will have to figure out how they want to manage that and work with the regional countries, all the countries, Russia, all the countries. How do we get along? How do we prolong the situation? So we have a very complex situation. It's not a matter of when or if. It's more important that when and what situation will happen. There's plans in place for either way. We can continue the war with additional funds, prolong it, but at the end of the day, a decision has to be made. Do Ukraine come under the auspices of Russia, or do we continue to fight to a point where right now, we can give up a little, or do we give it all up? And that is the issue with Russia. Russia is prepared to go all the way. They prepared to support. They're supported by their friends China to provide the situation so they are not defeated. And at the same time, the United States is prepared as a mediator to go east or west. They are preparing themselves to be neutral to the point that we will support either way. But in the end, there's only one way. That is the way of transactional deal. And that's what we're looking at.
Such an structured response from Norman, just fascinating, outstanding, sir. I want to come back after your statement and good analysis on the facts. The development is European Union joint $90 billion support. It's not $90 billion, it's a 90 billion euro, I see.
Euro.
Excuse me, support for Ukraine. The European Union is planning to raise 90 billion euros in joint debt to support Ukraine's defense and economic stability amid the ongoing war. So, if the budget is allocated, I want to do a question to Ali Ahmed, sir. Sir, what does the EU's joint borrowing signal about its cohesion and commitment to Ukraine?
If I have not understood, if I have understood properly, yes, EU will give 90 billion euros, but not equally. They will, everyone will give according to his power and ability. For example, Germany perhaps is the most important economy there. They will be paying more
Then French.
than France, then Russia, then UK, and Italy is good nowadays, but I do not know how much they will offer. But anyway, 90 billion they will arrange. That is not the problem. It can be cleared, it can be repaid after many things. That reminds me of the Lend-Lease agreement. During the Second World War, America gave under the Lend-Lease Act loan to almost European countries, including Soviet Union, UK, France, and everyone. And the last amount of this debt, this RIN, was paid on 29th July of 2006. It was being paid in, it was taken from 45 onwards and paid in so many 55 years and so. So, this may be repaid later, this will be repaid, but the question is, if you do not have manpower and they do not have manpower,
Especially soldiers.
That is it, the most important. They are tenacious fighters, many of them have said, but then outnumbered, very badly outnumbered by the Russians. So, that is one factor, and after this there is no production there, economy is in a very difficult condition. So, with these things I do not know how far they can stand. The rest of the Europeans know and speak about it, that they know that if this is taken, then Russia might be thinking of the next country. Russia Putin himself said 2-3 days before, it came very prominently in the media, that he said, if you behave with gentleness, politeness with me, I will not have any further attack after Ukraine. But he did not say that he will leave Ukraine and go away. He perhaps thinks of gobbling up Ukraine and then stop attacking others. That is no offer of peace. That is no offer of peace.
I am going to tell one thing to Norman sir. Vladimir Putin, so far I have studied him since his 45 years of career. I have gone through depth. He is a man not going to stop attacking Ukraine. He is a man not going to come into compromise without the territory he has already grabbed.
Yeah.
And Ukraine is a big land of food crops.
Yes.
And so
Also
he
minerals.
decided
Also
this is
very
a
rich minerals.
good piece of bread. He will eat piece by piece.
Yes.
Western leaders has to understand this, that Putin is not leaving Ukraine. He is not going to stop the war until he digests the lands he has acquired. Sir Norman, I want to come to you. You are my very favorite journalist. How might this debt issuance impact EU financial markets and member economies, because European economies are getting slowdowns, symptoms are there. Their finance ministers are also saying that, but 90 billion euros budget for Ukraine. What is the policy behind? What do you think, sir?
Thank you for that question. But the situation is, this 90 billion euros is just a lifeline, a something to keep them afloat, to keep the country afloat for another year. Is not enough to provide Ukraine with the energy and the resources to put up a offensive attack, and definitely not enough funds to provide them with a victory. So right now, this is survival mode. Basically, going to survive. However, at the same time, Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe, and they have traditionally been the land where we get the grain and the wheat and all the necessary things to survive. If this conflict continues, Russia will push and persist inch by inch restricting the access, restricting the resources to the point where the people would just say, "Hey, I had enough. I want to go on and live another day, concede the land." And at the same time, the European people is going to say the same thing. We cannot absorb this. Is create a hardship for everyone, not just Ukraine, but also the EU. They have to pull this money from somewhere. The money is coming from the resources of these countries. Right now is not a good look for their economic situation because of war. War restricts and costs, and it draws funds from other resources that we need day to day. When these funds are drawn to a what we call a no-win situation, people get frustrated and people will act out. So we have a situation where we now have the Ukrainian people now looking for relief, and we have European people looking for resources so they can sustain themselves, and they see no results. All we see is the same stalemate. Nothing happens. But Russia is still pushing and continue to stay and put their pressure on the head of Ukraine, constantly not giving them chance to breathe. So that is the situation. The pressures continue, the wars continue, but the people are getting frustrated on both sides,
All
and
right,
they
sir.
will
All
act
right,
out.
sir. I have received one question from one of the very popular television anchor of Bangladesh, Nokshi Tabassum. She's well known to everyone. She said, first of all, I would like to thank SATV, the honorable host and guest, to create this incredible platform where we enthusiastic people can contribute and participate. And now my question is, how should Ukraine balance territorial sovereignty with the urgency of ending the war? Already Norman said that. Would you mind, Norman, to repeat your prescription you have given for Ukrainian to end the question and to meet the question of Nakshi Tabassum?
Yes, the Ukrainian situation is one where the people, the troops and the military are getting very frustrated. They're not getting resources, they don't have enough food, and the weather is kicking in. The European Union, also including the people, will have to provide resources. That means it takes away from that quality of life and the things they need. No one is basically have excess resources. Everybody needs every bit of funds they have. War is a situation where it draws from the surrounding area. It will draw resources, time, efforts. The military has to focus on protecting their Europe, protecting their interests on invasion because it could be a flanking situation where you jump from Ukraine into other parts of Europe, and now we have a situation. The funding is drawing from the resources. So people gonna have to learn to live with less as this conflict goes on. It's a European issue now. It's not a Ukrainian Russia issue. It's a European issue. Russia needs their money. They have frozen assets. They need troops. They need resources, and and EU has to have their resources to defend and protect, and also live another day. Ukraine has a situation where they are fighting for their own survival, their existence. There's no conversation about defeating Russia, winning the war. It's just survive and live another day, and hopefully the Russians will get tired and frustrated and go home. That's not going to happen. That's the mindset. And the same point is that Ukraine has to have the strength and the people to realize and be confident that they can sustain themselves and not give up. So it's a very situation. It's a fight and a war of wills. Who has the constitution to stand still and maintain their position? Basically, the first one blinks, lose.
All right, sir. I'm sure Nakshi Tabassum, you have got your answer from Sir Norman Floyd Barnes. Sir, I have received one more question from Advocate Shoma Ghosh Monica. She marked it for you. As you have economics background, I think she knows about you. She said, what is Donald Trump's role in the global economic downturn caused by the Ukraine, Russia and Venezuela issues. This question is for Honorable Guest Ali Ahmed Sir. Would you mind to respond? Shoma Ghosh,
This
Monica.
refers to economics. World downturn in the world economy, yes, it is going to happen. But first of all, it's more from Donald Trump's own internal economic policies. For example, this so-called tariff that he imposed 100%, 150% and so on any and every country that he likes. First of all, this is unlawful. He cannot do that. I have been telling it then. Now, the Senate has stopped it and said you cannot do that, it has to stop. So, but this has brought about, they call it in economics, as she says, cost boost inflation by imposing more duty on the imports. Donald Trump thought that the people are exporting to our country, if we impose duty, higher duty, the exporters will pay it. No, the importers pay it and clear, and then the consumers pay it. That is, the Americans pay this excess money imposed by Trump. So, what he is doing? He is taxing exceedingly his own consumers. They are facing hardships and it is creating severe inflation, which led to downturn, because also there is no, I mean there is, but very little investment in America. This is one thing. So, producers market there, it stopped. Consumers market is unreachable by the people, and capital not going to investment much. And Donald Trump's all these things, he is also facing, I am not going to say it before, but he is also going to face a very difficult time. He is already in litigation, a few of them, and judges have seized all his assets, frozen, not taken away, and he went for appeal to the Supreme Court, USAT, and these are not coming in the press, but and the Supreme Court said no, nothing doing, it is frozen. So, he cannot pay even his lawyers. So, very bad days are coming very soon. There is going to be a severe collapse, perhaps. I wish it
for
is
Donald
not.
Trump.
Yes, but if it comes for America,
yes, sir.
it comes
you
for
said
everybody.
it is not coming in the press. I am sure,
Yes,
as Sir Norman Flood Barnes covers White House, left wing, right wing, Oval Office, Congress and Senate. I am sure Sir Norman Flood Barnes know about it. Judges has frozen Donald Trump's assets and banks. This is what
accounts.
Ali Ahmed Sir is
And also
saying.
banks have issued him.
Yes. So, he said that it would be tough for Donald Trump to pay even his lawyers. Sir, I know you have a time limitation, still you have 4 minutes. Would you mind to respond, Ali Ahmed, at this stage, at this situation, for this information?
Yes, I must say I'm not familiar or aware of the president's assets being frozen. Right now, he's the president, and he's the CEO of the United States. He controls the budget. So I don't know what assets, his
That
personal
is what
assets. I have no idea. The
yes, he
information.
wanted to say, he said that, but the court said nothing doing.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Right.
Please.
Yes, yes. So his personal issues is dealt with his family, and they're working to try to get new deals. So I assume they're trying to get resources necessary to deal with what you basically saying. But in terms
I'd clarify a little.
of his position, I don't know. I don't think there's a mixture or an issue with that because right now he's a sitting president and he has to focus on that. And his personal life, as we know, is very conflicting, and that is what it is.
All right, sir. I think Ali Ahmed, he has
Yes,
the clarification.
I have a further clarification. It is not coming in the press, not even the US press. The thing is, he raised this issue of his impunity, and the question came from the judges, not from the Congress. It comes, this time judges said that he cannot have unlimited impunity, and why his personal assets, his Donald Trump Tower and all those things, because if you know, you know, any political person contesting elections and coming to the office always resign from their business empire and work in the government, so long as they are in government. Even in Bangladesh, that is happening.
Right.
So,
All right,
in this
sir.
case,
All right,
he did
sir.
not
I
do
know
that.
Sir Norman Flood Barnes has time limitation. Sir, I'm always grateful to you for your huge contribution, your dedication, your study, your research, your commenting, and you became very popular among the viewers. We can understand it when we visit the digital platforms. They can comment on you, and everybody took you as a good friend of Bangladesh, and they sometimes request me to invite you to Bangladesh. They want to see you in this studio, sir. I wish you a very, very good day today.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we'll come back again on discussions, but production is offering me a short commercial break. I apologize for that.
Okay.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, 22 রবার্টস লেন, সিঙ্গাপুর 218302। ফোন 0065 629 24900। বাংলাদেশ থেকে সিঙ্গাপুরে পণ্য বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন ঢাকা সহ দেশের যে কোনো 80টি শাখা কেন্দ্রে। এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, আপনার সেবা সব সময়।
Welcome, Grand Palace Hotel, Dhaka. A majestic lobby blending timeless elegance with modern design. Experience 5-star comfort in suites and rooms. Sophisticated fine dining restaurant. Crystal clear swimming pool for ultimate relaxation. Modern gym and serene
Israel again in a kind of documented invasion. Ladies and gentlemen, let us talk about that. Israel-Gaza conflict and settlement expansion. Israeli cabinet approved 19 new settlements in the West Bank, a highly controversial move that critics say undermine prospects for peace. Meanwhile, ceasefire lines in Gaza continue to see deadly clashes. I just want to do a direct question to Ali Ahmed, who has very keen interest on Middle East development. Sir, how do settlement approvals affect the feasibility of a two-state solution?
Well, the answer is not very difficult or very far to seek. The two-state idea accepted by both the USA, that is they were mediator, President Clinton was there then, and both US, so both Palestine, that is Gaza and
PLO
other things, and Israel, they all signed and agreed, and they were also given Nobel Peace Prize for this. So that is accepted, and unless there is a revolutionary government, the other governments coming through elections and all that, by international law and standards, they can never nullify the agreements reached between states. So Netanyahu is also bound by Israeli law, international law, to follow this two-state solution. So if that be so, and it is so, then the two-state, what is Israel? The other state is supposed to be the West Bank and Gaza, but Gaza they have demolished, and West Bank they are inching forward every day. Even now they have sanctioned, approved 19 more housing states, and the newscasters in the West also said, the BBC and all that, they said that the United Nations has said this is totally unlawful and not acceptable. Interestingly, their hawkish finance minister Ben-Gvir, he said, yes, we are doing it in order to obstruct the creation of a Palestinian state, and they are going on. And what is Donald Trump doing? What America is doing, who is also a signatory to this and a supervisor to this agreement of two-state solution. So, complicity also in the West. But fortunately, the people in the West, generally people, they are rising up against their rulers and others. So, that may be a solution.
Sir, if so, what leverage do external actors like United States, European Union, Arab states, especially I can talk about the GCC, Gulf Council of Countries, or the mediators have to de-escalate these tensions, because IDF is continuously moving towards Gaza to destroy the Gaza and to take the lives of innocent women, children and human?
Well, as we have seen through experience, even during this Donald Trump's time, that when America or American president representing America seriously says something, Donald Netanyahu or any other president or prime minister or anybody of Israel accepts that, maybe grudgingly sometimes, and they do not care for any other person or state. The rest is the other states together can do that, but it is not a warlike situation and they cannot do that. So, finally, it starts that America only can stop it or can make some changes. But if you go into American legal systems, there is an American law in the Congress, passed by the Congress, that arms sales to any country, especially the competing countries of Israel, should always be a degree lower than what Israel possesses or Israel is given to. This is a law passed by the state. And you know, IPAC and IPAC, most of the congressmen and most of the presidents are members of this community. They receive money for that. This is a bribery sort of thing, and they also contributed. Why? To support Israel. So, Israel actually, they had they are Christians, but they believe that Moses will come as the Messiah, and so they think that they will all be this, and that is why they think that Christians are a kind of Jews or Jews a kind of Christian. Some of them, including the present president and his previous one. Not the previous one was far better. He accepted the capital to the west of Jerusalem.
Sir, one question is coming in my mind after listening you very, very attentively. United States is going to lose the unipolar control and dominance.
That is gone.
China is coming up.
You can say has come.
Yes, sir. By the support of United States and his allies, so-called allies, NATO members and European countries, a small country like Ukraine has started fighting with a superpower like Russia. Now, United States President is telling we are withdrawing our support from you. Do you really believe, or do you imagine one day United States will lose its position? Then who will support Israel?
We would love to think of better days, going out of the darkness to light, out of frustration to hopefulness. So, if that be so, I think China is already tilting towards the Arab countries, not for any religious reason, because they do not believe in religions. It is because of geopolitical necessity. So, in that case, I think it's not very, time is not very far away when China is already war-wise, armaments-wise, they are in a different, except that they do not have many of these aircraft carriers. They have 2, 3, but they do not need more. The way China will pass, especially his greatest test, China's greatest test is the Taiwan, and they know that for
Sir,
Taiwan.
You properly said these things. I was just preparing to give this information to our very valuable and beloved audience, that United States is trying to poke China to come into war. I have this news. The United States announced a major 11 billion US dollar military support package for Taiwan, including advanced weaponry systems, triggering strong geopolitical tensions with China. You properly mentioned in right time. Ladies and gentlemen, we will definitely put a few tough questions to Ali Ahmed, that he has keen knowledge and experience on these issues. But allow me to go for a very short commercial break.
For well-being. Perfect venue for corporate events, weddings and parties. Seamless and secured. Elegant and eye-catching design. Indulge, relax, discover the first 5-star chain hotels in Bangladesh. Grand Palace Hotel Dhaka, 22 Kakrail, Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Welcome to Grand Club at Mirpur 10 Dhaka. Elegant spa and wellness facility for ladies and gents. Play pool and snooker in international standard billiard zone. World-class gym facility with exclusive equipment for man and woman. A restaurant of delicious local and international cuisine. Fully air-conditioned building with spacious banquet, car lift, sky view rooftop restaurant, all in one. Grand Club Limited, Mirpur 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a high voltage breaking news right this moment. Russian general killed in Moscow by car bomb. A senior Russian general has been killed by a car bomb in southern Moscow. Russian investigators say they are treating it as a murder, and we are exploring various leads tied to intelligence services. I am sure the remaining of the day this will be in the top news rankings around the globe. I am grateful to Al Jazeera, they pushed me this news to me. I am grateful to them, and we are talking about the American military poke to China by allocating $11 billion military support package to Taiwan. Do you like to call it poke or irritate? Irritation, right?
Irritant.
Yeah.
Is an irritant.
Would you mind to respond? What signal does the US military aid to Taiwan send to Beijing?
Very interesting. And also, people should know, and we should also understand it better. The thing is, China, of course, Xi Jinping or its great military leaders have not shared with me how they are going to fight, but they are definitely going to fight and occupy that country, which is part of China. The simple strategy China might employ in this case is not to land there and to go for fighting. Why should they? China has a vast naval resources, naval force. They will just seize this island, this entry and exit, and Taiwan does not have more than 2-3 months maximum food and other things, necessities. These all come from outside. So, if they just put their anchors and sit there with their guns and everything on the ready, not to fight, but to be alert. So, they will be bound to surrender. It could be this siege of Taiwan, probable siege of Taiwan could be taken care of by America, if they could come and bomb and all those things, but America will not dare. I tell you, when China comes up with a siege like this, I am sure they will. And you remember me, America will not come, cannot come, because it is 7,000, 8,000 miles away, and China is only a few hundred kilometers away with all those vast resources. So, the thing is already known. They have given these arms, but these people will not get any opportunity to use these arms.
Sir, I just want to add one more question. I am trying to connect Al Jazeera reporter in Moscow, if he can give us any update. He's my one of the old friend. I met him during the war in Iraq in 2003. We used to live in the same hotel, so we have interaction since last 23 years. But before that, I want to ask you a question. How might China respond? This question actually comes. How might China respond militarily or economically to this package, or as per your language, is irritation by US military or US policymakers?
China will just sit it out, as they say in English. They know it, it has come in the press. They are not going to show much of concern or anxiety or anger or pleasure, of course not. They will just sit it out. They see that, well, you bring this, okay, but we will not fight like this. Our strategy here might be, as I said, I think they can be, they can do it. Should we just put a big Caesar around that country's island? The whole island is theirs, or small island. If they surround it with naval vessels and everything, and food and other things cannot come, they will not require to fight. And America or any other country cannot come to break the seas set by China. If that is going to, remember me, if that happens, it will.
Sir, I want to remember one quote on Xi Jinping about his political legacy, political career, his strategy, his diplomacy. This quote has been passed by one of my very favorite British politician, Theresa, British Prime Minister.
Oh, the former Prime Minister.
Yes. She said, have you ever seen the biggest whale in the ocean? And his audience says no. She says, Theresa says, you can look at the top leader of China. He has the capacity, but he doesn't come on the surface to let him show who he is. Sir, we are discussing something very critical issues. I am trying to get the latest development from Moscow, as I have a couple of connections over there. I have written them, but I want to again come to you. Does this kind of support deter conflict or increase escalation risk? I especially mean China and USA. I mean China, South China Sea.
South China Sea is like the pond behind your house to China. You see, China is there with such might, and others are shaking. They consider it as their own pond, and during all those years there were those noises in the press and everything. Do you know what China was doing? They have been creating many small artificial islands, so that they can hop from one to another and fight if need be. But they will go for a naval blockade, and America cannot do anything. America has the power, maybe, but 7,000 miles away and a few kilometers away, 200, 300 kilometers, it is nothing. So, America, I tell you, America will not come for war, and papers will be writing. Not that I am very happy stating this, but since America is also very unpopular in the world, we say this is not a good thing, but this is going to happen.
All right, sir. We are running shortage of time, but we still have so many issues, nothing to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I always see one thing in news, that is, what is the latest breaking news. I try to collect while in the live studio to connect my friend circle and journalists around the globe. Sometimes some information we need to recheck, we cannot. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to see you tomorrow. Before that, I want to remind you, as a nation, Bangladesh should be a proud nation, but some neighboring countries are trying to undermine us through their media propaganda. Message is for them: look at your city, world's worst weather condition is going on there in New Delhi, don't look at us. Bangladesh will never compromise on its own sovereignty, security and integrity. I'll see you tomorrow.